we've sold thousands of lots to people willing to exchange on the day and complete within 28 days. Property auctions made quick, easy and simple. Clive Emson Land and Property Auctioneers.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another feature lot show for the Clive Emson June Auction. Now, I can't possibly do these by myself, so I have to enlist the pros, the professionals, the guys who know what they're doing. And unfortunately, nobody was available, so I had to get Richard. I'm joking, Richard. I'm joking. The man who knows it all. How are you, Richard? Are you good?
I'm good, thanks, Ian. Yeah, back here again.
To talk to us about lot 35. Here's a little bit of magic just coming up the bottom of the screen. There we are, Bolneys Farm. Now, we must just stress as well, there's a total of 139 lots, I think, going under the hammer now, and there's quite a lot. And we always ask you guys, the professionals within Clive Emson, to just pick a couple of lots that really stood out for you for any particular reason, although every single lot is special in its own way, isn't it, Richard?
Yeah, they've all got their own little individual qualities, and you have to make sure you make everyone aware that they're all different and all special in their own way.
Absolutely. So if you do want to view the full catalogue, all 139, scan that QR code just there, or visit cliveemson.co.uk. You can type it out, or there's a link in the body of this broadcast. But let's look at the image of Bolneys Farm. Here it is. Give us a bit more information, if you wouldn't mind, Richard.
Yeah, I don't often come across these type of lots, so this was a real gem, because there's doors and quite a high fencing. They've got livestock there, so you can't actually see what it's like until you actually open the gates and go in. So when I walked in, I thought, wow, what an absolute gem. Some agricultural buildings used to house pigs and cows and chickens, and then 8 acres of land, and then to the left-hand side of the site, there's a large electricity pylon. So something for everyone.
Yeah, there certainly is. Is that why you've chosen this lot, Richard? Because you guys, I love coming on with you guys, because the stories that you have to tell, the places that you go to see. What makes for you a standout lot in particular? Is it this has got everything, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question, because we do see a lot of things in our job, and what we do is we've got a real variety of stuff that we look at. But every now and again, yeah, I call it the Lovejoy moment. It's when you kind of look at something and your hair's on the back of your neck and you think, oh, this is great. Like, I don't normally see this sort of thing. I think this is going to do really well. And we've been absolutely mobbed on this lot, and I think I have underestimated, despite 30 years of experience, I've underestimated just how popular this lot could be. But I wanted to include it anyway, because it's an interesting view. So there you go.
Well, I'll tell you what, you've got me excited for this. I'm delighted to say it. And thank you, Richard, because we have provided us with a video for this one as well. So let's have a little look around Bolneys Farm, shall we? Lot number 35 going under the hammer in the Clive Emson June Auction. Sit back, relax and enjoy this. I know what you mean, Richard. That was sort of that, going through those gates at the start. I can imagine you just pulling up there for the first time and being like, absolutely, wow, oh wow, oh wow. It's got everything, hasn't it? And you say there's been a lot of interest in this one.
Yeah, and I've been really busy with this lot, and I really underestimated the popularity of this type of small holding sort of land with buildings. Yeah, no, it's been a real joy to deal with.
Of course, down in East Sussex as well. Lovely location down there too. Right, Richard, just a couple of questions for you, actually. What is your number one piece of advice for somebody watching this who's thinking of actually making a bid in the June auction? What advice would you give them, whether they're a bit of an old hat at doing it or if it's their first time bidding at auction?
Well, actually, I can speak from personal experience here because I've been bidding on some stuff on eBay, and it was someone's birthday, and I wanted to buy them a map print, and I found it on eBay, and I said I'm only going to pay X amount of money for it, and if it goes above that, I'm just not interested.
Yeah.
And I watched it all unfold, and I stuck to my guns, and the person that bought it changed their mind and decided that they didn't want to proceed. So the buyer emailed me and asked me if I was still interested. So I made the bid that I said I was going to bid, and it happened. So one bit of advice I can give somebody is decide what you're going to pay and do not deviate from that, because you'll only end up feeling bad about being sort of feeling like you've been forced to pay more than you wanted to. If it works at that sort of level, stick at that level, and then you'll be happy with your purchase. But start going above it, you start compromising your thoughts and possibly the value of it. And that's not a good place to be at the moment.
No, great advice actually, Rich, as well, because as I was talking to Paul a little bit earlier, once the hammer falls, that is it, you've exchanged, haven't you? So it's not like eBay where you can back out of it. It's deposit goes, and you've got to make sure. No room for buyer's remorse in an auction, is there?
No, it's costly. It's your deposit that you're forfeiting if you pay too much. So just stick to your guns and say enough's enough. That's it. I'm out.
And why should somebody who's maybe looking to sell a property, because it's not just farms and lands, it's all sorts, isn't it? We get family homes coming up in the auction. There's a number of them actually in the June auction for Clive Emson. So why should somebody perhaps look at going down the auction route as opposed to a traditional estate agent route for selling a property?
Well, we were always perceived to be the sort of last resort. You'd get people ringing us up saying, I've had it on the market for 10 years. I've had 8 sales falling through. I've spent countless thousands on legal fees. And you said, well, if you'd have come to me from the start, at least I'd have been able to give you an objective idea of what you could achieve at auction. But it's almost like, we've tried everything else, so let's get it sold at auction. And I sort of find that's a bit counterproductive, because in some cases, not always, but in some cases, we've ended up getting more for the property than the agent who's been selling it, because we've managed to create a competitive bidding situation. But as Paul pointed out, it doesn't work for everything. Most buyers want to add value. And if you've got a beautiful family home, the only reason they'll buy it is because it's cheap.
Okay, fantastic. Good stuff. Right, Richard, I'm going to ask you one last question, and I know you don't want me to ask it to you. I know you like to drink your tea, and I know you're dead against dunking biscuits, aren't you? So we've been asking whether you're a dunker or not. Obviously, we know you're not. But why? Why don't you like to dunk a biscuit in your cup of tea?
Well, if I want to have cereal or I want to have some muesli, I'll put it in, and then I'll put the milk in. I don't want bits of broken biscuit, because they don't hold up unless maybe it's a rich tea, perhaps. But tea's for drinking, biscuits for eating. Never the twain shall meet. There you go. That's my take on it.
Fantastic. Richard, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for bringing that lot to our attention. It's an absolute beauty. That was lot number 35, Bolneys Farm, going under the hammer in the Clive Emson June auction. If you want to view more of that, there's a lot more images as well, by the way, at the full catalogue. Just scan that QR code right there, or visit cliveemson.co.uk. It's running across the bottom of your screen, or you can click the link in the body of this broadcast. So, Richard, good luck with the auction. It's great to see you again. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And best of luck to everybody watching if you're going to make a bid. Take care.
Great. Thanks a lot. Cheers. Bye-bye.
We've sold thousands of lots to people willing to exchange on the day and complete within 28 days. Property auctions made quick, easy and simple. Clive Emson Land and Property Auctioneers.